Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923, AnyMac Home Mortgage, an equal housing lender, American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage, Lo-Fi Direct, Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number, ML 338923, Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number, MC 338923, Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Sanderson looking in, zone for a pass. He's looking for King, intercepted. He's going to go down the right side. Lawrence down to the 20, 30, down to the 40. He might go all the way.
3rd down and 7. Good jump off the line by Strahan, who gets the sack. Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet. Airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree.
4-man rush. Eli throwing into traffic on the sideline. They're going to rule a catch by
Manning. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drawing About the GMen, the Giants football podcast. I'm Big J, joined by Joe Guire, and Sean Scanlon should be coming in here soon, hopefully. But now we got to start off with the Giants. Free agency kicked off kicked off. Giants bringing in Tyrod Taylor. Before that, though, using Sterling Shepard and Blake Martinez, restructuring some contracts. We talked a little bit about the cuts last week. But Joe Shane doing his best he can to free up as much cap space. And I do really like all the different offensive linemen they brought in. John Feliciano, him being able to play guard and center, I think is going to be big, especially with this Giants, the way they've been moving around, and especially how they're going to have to find themselves as an offensive line. So it might take some movement. And then Gano and Glowinski, they're both veterans. So hopefully with this Giants O-line last year, I mean, it struggled because it was terrible, but it was also very young. I think these veterans can help boost that and bring that veteran leadership that Nate Solder didn't bring last year. So hopefully they can help out. But Joe, these are the first couple moves Joe Shane is making as a GM as far as personnel goes. What do you think about them so far?
Well, so I'm a little perplexed because first of all, and if you look at the salaries that they'll be earning next season, Tyrod Taylor is getting paid like the starter for the New York Giants. So that means if Daniel Jones and company get off to an 0-3, 0-4, 1-5 start, Tyrod Taylor's in until he gets hurt. And then Jones gets forced back in late in the season. Messy situation. It played out all through the 90s. It's not a fun story. It won't be enjoyable to watch. You know, there's this report out that they're going to be moving James Bradbury before the season starts. And you and I were like, oh, Sauce Gardner at 7. That might make some sense there. And I don't think that doesn't make the Giants a better team. Replacing one good cornerback with another good cornerback, unless you're thinking about it from a long-term strategy, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to subtract your best player on defense. I would cut 5 other guys before I would make James Bradbury's money work. I still think that's one of the best cornerbacks for the Giants, at least. I think for the money, I think they're doing really well with that guy. So again, I would much rather them spend the picks on 2 offensive linemen at 5 and 7 than have to, again, the idea of going out and replacing a guy. You want another receiver who's better than Kenny Golladay? What are you going to do with Kenny Golladay then? I've seen so many people on their fantasy drafts got the Giants grabbing a wide receiver in the third. Get out of here with that.
That's ridiculous.
This team needs an offensive line with some depth. Okay? Yeah. They're not doing 10 picks on the offensive line. So for those people, get a grip, you idiot.
I mean, you already added 3 through free agency, like you always say, Joe. The mock drafts, once the free agency comes in. So now you have that flexibility. You don't have to use the first 2 picks as an offensive lineman because you got these guys that can come in and play. But I will say, back on the Tyrod Taylor and James Bradbury thing, I get where you're coming from, but I think that's why I think the mentality you have is why the Giants have been struggling so much, that they aren't going back to the rebuild. They aren't going back and doing a full rebuild. I think that's why I like what Shane's been doing so much. The Tyrod Taylor thing, okay, you're not sold on Daniel Jones. If Tyrod Taylor's coming in here expecting to be a starter, he can come in and fight Daniel Jones for that. Daniel Jones hasn't had a situation like that. Tyrod Taylor is a veteran in this league, and he'll probably get injured, and Daniel Jones will probably just get handed the job anyway, like you mentioned, Joe. So I think having that competition will be good for Daniel Jones and to see what he's really made of and to see if you can build something if you're Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. And then on James Bradbury, you got this older guy who's lost production. I think getting him away, especially looking at how shallow the pool is for free agents at cornerback right now, a team that is, I think, a team that's really desperate to up their secondary might give away a bunch of picks, especially as we get closer to the draft, just for a guy like James Bradbury who has been serviceable. And I mean, I'm not talking like first and that stuff, but second and third picks, give Joe Shane more opportunities to build guys and build that foundation to make the Giants an actual dynasty and not just keep trying to fix and tear apart and replace and everything with the duct tape stuff, like the Dave Gettleman stuff isn't going to work anymore. So I think just blow up as much as you can, and it's starting. And I mean, Bradbury and Shep, they were guys that were on the outs, and they were able to restructure and find themselves in this spot. Sadly, Bradbury had his restructure last year, didn't have a lot of wiggle room. But I mean, it is what it is. There's going to be casualties in a rebuild. So, Sean, what do you think of Shane's moves thus far this free agency?
I'm a fan of it so far. I knew that the Giants weren't going to go out and make these huge splash signings, but Tyrod Taylor is a proven veteran. He's a great backup in this league, and he's going to give some competition to Daniel Jones. So it's not a guarantee for the first time in his career that Daniel Jones would go out and be the starter. So I'm a fan of that. And also, I mean, we saw what happened last year when Daniel Jones got hurt. Joe's favorite quarterback, Mike Glennon, had to be thrown in there. And obviously that didn't work out at all. So Daniel Jones has proven that he can't stay healthy throughout the entire course of a season. He's gotten hurt in all 3 of his first seasons. So you need a proven veteran quarterback to be your backup. So I'm a fan of the Tyrod Taylor move. And then I like the Mark Lewinsky signing too. The guard from the Colts. He's been a starter for the Colts, who are one of the better offensive lines in the league. So I think he's an instant upgrade from, Will Hernandez and Shane Lemieux and guys like that. So nothing like too splashy. That's what I expected from Joe Shane, though. I knew he wasn't going to go out and throw a bunch of money at these free agents like Dave Gettleman did. I think he's doing it the right way, and I think it's been smart so far because, like you said, Jace, he knows that you can't just put a Band-Aid over this. You have to really start from scratch, and it's got to start somewhere. So I think he's done a good job so far. But maybe you bring in some depth at edge rusher. Maybe you bring in a little more depth pieces in the O-line. But as of right now, I'm a fan of what he's doing, and I think that he knows that you have to build through the draft to be a successful team. You could supplement through free agency, bring a couple guys that are missing pieces, but I think he understands that you have to build through the draft, and I think that's what he's going to do this coming April.
Interesting. Well, I mean, talking about building through the draft, Joe and I were just talking before this. James Bradbury possibly getting traded leaves a spot open for the Giants to draft a guy like Sauce Gardner from Cincy. Sean, what do you think about the idea of James Bradbury getting traded?
I mean, I'm on board with it because James Bradbury is in the final year of his contract. Like you said, there's some teams desperate out there, and after the Chargers went out and signed J.C. Jackson, there's not a lot of great corners still on the market. So for a team that is desperate and needs them in the secondary, especially for a team that's in win now mode, but is just maybe a solid corner away, I think it makes sense for them. So I'd be on board with it. It also saves us some money. And we do have a Dory Jackson still. Like you said, we have 2 top 7 picks. So there's guys like Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley that we can go out and get. So I think it makes sense. I know that James Bradbury kind of fell off last year after a good first year. So I'd be a fan of it, but
I just don't see how getting rid of a guy who I think is very serviceable and I think on a better defense would play better. Again, unless you're, and this is fine if this is what we're doing, but is this a long-term move, a long-term rebuild? Because then swapping out, what is Bradbury, 29? For a 22-year-old cornerback, looking at the future, if you're thinking about trying to be competitive this coming season, I don't see how improving the Giants today would be trading Bradbury and drafting Stingley or Gardner. You know what I'm saying? Like that's for the future. Great. Yeah. A great young quarterback. Adoree Jackson's, I think, 26. So that makes a whole ton of sense. But then why keep Blake Martinez around? Why keep Leonard Williams around?
Well, Leonard Williams, if we cut him, we would eat a lot of dead money. I don't think we could really get rid of that contract unless he was traded. But then that leaves us in the desperate spot at D tackle. And for Blake Martinez, I think we don't have a lot of depth there. Obviously, we have young guys like Tate Crowder, Cam Brown.
They're all
Carter
terrible.
Coughlin.
Yeah, they're all terrible.
But exactly, yeah. So if you get rid of Blake Martinez, then you just have another hole to fill. So he's also in the last year of his contract. So I think you ride it out with him this year. If he has a prove it year after coming off an injury, then maybe you give him another contract. But I think Bradbury makes sense because there are good prospects at corner. Bradbury's getting up there in age. He had kind of a down year last year after a good first year with the Giants, and it gets rid of some money. So if you're able to go out and get another corner, a younger, cheaper corner who, if you get him in the first round, you're going to have him for 5 years compared to the 1 year you have left with Bradbury's contract. I think that would make sense.
What is a team?
Get a corner in the first round, which I don't know if they will. I think Sauce Gardner would make sense, but there's still obviously a lot of other needs like edge rusher and O-line that we have to go over. So it'll be interesting to see where Shane goes in the draft, but I wouldn't hate the corner pick though.
Right, but so for anybody who's done their stupid mock draft, right? Like the whole thing has to be redone because Cam Robinson re-signed with the Jaguars. So they're not taking an offensive lineman. They might trade that pick or they're taking one of the edge rushers. So all your stupid mock drafts were Cross. I seen Cross. Get that. He's a 5 guy. Get out of here with that nonsense. Number 1 overall. It's going to be a big edge rusher. That's what it's going to be because that's where it's at because it's the NFL. And there's no quarterbacks this year. That's why it's either, listen, it's the number 1 pick. It's either a quarterback or a monster defensive end.
What about Eric Fisher?
Again, dude.
The last number 1 overall pick to win the Super Bowl.
Let me tell you the name Tony Mandrich. He was the worst pick of that draft. Number 2 overall. and there was a lot of talk about him being number 1 overall. He used steroids. He got to the NFL. The speed overwhelmed him. That draft was loaded with Hall of Famers, and the Packers were the only ones that whiffed. You don't want to be that offensive lineman, dude. That's you. They better tell you, like, this is a gold jacket guy if you're going number 1 overall. Because if that guy doesn't pan out in 2 years, doing it all over again, or spending a ton of money to fix that. That is I mean, you messing up quarterback, left tackle, or not having a good defensive end really in today's NFL is a problem. Those are 3 positions that'll absolutely destroy you. You can have a bad secondary with a great pass rusher.
The Cowboys. Well, I mean, Trayvon.
You know what I mean? You aren't going to win without a great quarterback. That's been proven of late. That's just how it's going to be. You're going to have to be one of those top 10 guys. You're going to need a really great left tackle if you're going to have any kind of success in a league where it's all about passing and it's all about blitzing. So there you go.
Yeah, and the Giants have failed at all 3 of those pretty much over the past 5 years or so, with Eric Flowers first, Daniel Jones. I think he still could be good, but he's still improving. And then edge rusher. I mean, we just have not addressed that whatsoever in the draft. So, I mean, those are definitely the 3 prime value positions that the Giants just haven't really been able to nail. Except Andrew Thomas is coming along, but he's also just in his 3rd year.
Yeah. I mean,
but the other 2 would be nice to get. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, again, you expect your first round picks to be day 1 starters.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, especially in the top 15. Like, those guys you got to be a contributor right this minute. You know, in San Francisco, people are already a little tired of what's his face? What is that quarterback's name? Trey Lance. Yeah. Oh, I don't know where I was going to go with that. Yeah, Trey Lance. People are already sour on him, and it's like, well, come on, guys. You knew that guy wasn't ready. Like, that was, I think, 6 games at Wyoming or whatever it was. I think we all knew the NFL definitely wasn't going to be where he was going to jump in. But otherwise, and again, you're Kyle Shanahan. He knew what he was getting into, and he saw this as more of a, I think it's going to be longer than a 2-year project. I think Garoppolo's going to be there all season. Again, is my take, but we'll talk about that at another time. But listen, I like Joe Shane. I'm just saying, are you rebuilding or are you trying to be competitive? Because Tyrod Taylor, that tells me I want to be competitive. Restructuring, keeping Blake Martinez says we want to be competitive. Trading James Bradbury and again, drafting a great guy like Sauce Gardner, that's for the future. That's where we're not going to be competitive this year. I just think you need to marry one idea or the other because, again, the Phil Simms into the Kent Graham era was messy. It was messy, and there was starting, and there was he got hurt, and then this, and like you don't want that. It's a messy look. It's a really messy look. This team needs to keep the weapons that they have. Trading Saquon Barkley is stupid. I'd rather he walk away for 0. You spent the cap. Do it now. Run this guy into the ground. He's either going to be the generational talent we keep hearing about, or we're going to have exhausted every cent, Sean. Every cent that guy's worth. Run him into the ground. You can't keep babying the guy. He's either got it or he doesn't because you're running out of time. Trading him for, I'm hearing, a 5th-round pick at best. Eat all that money, ride this kid, and let's do it.
I agree.
I mean, yeah, if it's like that, 3rd is when I'd start thinking a little bit. But yeah, 5th, I mean, maybe. But I mean, but before we wrap up the topic here and move on to Deshaun Watson, I want to ask you guys, back on James Bradbury, if they do find a trade partner, who do you expect it to be, Joe?
The Saints.
The Saints?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, that's a team that's only going to win by defense, and that's a team they're always very active when it comes to guys that are available. I know they got one really good corner over there. I don't think they have two. So I think Bradbury would be an upgrade on a veteran defense. I think James Bradbury makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I
he's a good second corner on a team like the Rams, dude. Imagine him on the opposite side of Jalen Ramsey. You'd be doing all right.
Yeah, Darius Williams just left too today, so the Rams probably need another corner.
So maybe the Rams are a potential target, you know? I mean, we know they don't have any ones, but
that's for sure.
Maybe they'll blow a 2 on somebody. They're in let's go for it mode. Why not? You know?
Yeah.
We'll take your ones in 2026 and beyond for Saquon too.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Deshaun, who's trained for Bradbury?
I think the Raiders would make sense too. Just because I mean Patrick Graham, he obviously knows James Bradbury very well, and also the Raiders secondary is probably a weak spot of that defense, especially just after getting Chandler Jones and Max Crosby. They have the pass rush there, but definitely adding some help in the secondary would definitely go a far way. I know that they have some young player like Nate Hobbs is a good corner. Casey Hayward, I think, is still under contract, so they have some decent players, but if you add James Bradbury into that mix, I think the Raiders could definitely be a great defense, and especially in a division with Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes facing them all twice a year, you definitely want as many good players in the secondary as you can get. So I don't know how much draft capital the Raiders have, and I don't know what their cap situation is like, but I'm pretty sure that they could take on James Bradbury's contract. So I think that would make sense. And the reunited with Patrick Graham, I think that Patrick Graham would definitely like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of former New England guys going to the Raiders. They like that cutesy stuff, so I could see that going on. Reunite Patrick Graham with James Bradbury. Seeing as all the New England
you really
guys
seem to steer me towards the Saints too, Sean. Knowing you were going to go Raiders and do the Patrick Graham thing, that was really well played on your part, by the way. It's very sneaky.
Yeah. I'm going to say the Chiefs. It seems like Tyrann Mathieu out of there. I think you bring in a guy. I think you know their offensive set, and you know the only problem they're going to have is can we stop them to score more than them? And so just bringing guys to help that secondary, especially with Tyrann Mathieu looking like he's not coming back. So I think that could happen. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of teams that could benefit a lot from a corner, from having a good corner. And with free agency, with the free agent cornerbacks dwindling, I think I'm excited. If Joe Shane can get something good out of this, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited for the Joe Shane. I've been excited. He's been doing all right. But I mentioned it before. We're going to talk about Deshaun Watson. More trades, predicting where people are going to get traded. But before that, let's hear a word from one of our sponsors.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
All right. It sucks that Zay's not here because as soon as he talks about it all the time, And now it's actually a possibility. Deshaun Watson will not face criminal charges. He's most likely going to get traded from the Texans, find a new home somewhere, maybe. Who knows? Joe, what do you think of this situation, and what do you think will happen with Deshaun Watson?
Okay. Well, because I know Zay would be, I'm not even going to say it. I know
Yeah, you're lucky Zay's not here.
Well, let's be clear about a couple of things. Okay. He pled the fifth on everything. This guy's not talking. They're going to work out a civil suit so he can avoid criminal charges, is all that's happening. He's buying their silence, and he should really be appreciative of that. And for anybody who's like, he should sue them, there's a reason he's not suing them. Okay. There's this thing in a lawsuit called discovery, and that's where all the evidence gets laid out. And that's where a judge decides whether you have an actual lawsuit or whether it gets tossed. He doesn't want that. Okay. So that's the end of that. He's going to pay these chicks a lot of money, and he's going to go play for the Saints.
The Saints.
Yep.
I don't know why do you like the Saints so much? Aren't they basically?
I think that's a team. I think that's a team that's a quarterback and a quarterback short of a Super Bowl. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Those are just I said the Saints before. Again, they're just an active team, and that's just the kind of move that they would make. That just strikes me as like a very Saints thing to do. Score your best cornerback for like a 4th round pick. Yeah, great. And then that guy's in the Super Bowl next year. That's how it feels. And the Saints thing, he's met with the Saints, and I think of the teams, Carolina was a team he met with. Sean, who's the other team he met with?
The Falcons and the Browns. And the Saints.
Yeah. Panthers. Where would you rather go, New Orleans or Cleveland? Give me a break, dude.
You'd rather go to Atlanta.
I don't know.
Shh.
Atlanta.
Listen, there's some great talent in Cleveland. Don't get me wrong. I meant, do you really want to go live in and represent Cleveland?
Yeah. If I was choosing where I wanted to live, I would definitely go down to NOLA. But in terms of football situation, I don't know. I think the Browns would be a nice fit for him. Obviously, they just got Amari Cooper. They have probably the best run game in the NFL. They have a great O-line, and they have a defense that's ready to win now. So I think the Browns would be my pick. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I think it makes a lot of sense. They released Jarvis Landry, so I think they would probably have to go out and get maybe another solid receiver too. They lost Rashard Higgins too. But Donovan Peoples-Jones is all right. So if I were Deshaun Watson, I would be looking at the Browns too. It would either be the Browns or the Saints. Definitely not the Falcons or Panthers. I think that both those teams are farther away from winning right now. But Deshaun Watson is still, I think, easily a top 10 quarterback in the league, maybe even top 5. He hasn't played in a couple of years, so he has to show what he's still got. But I think that he's still probably an elite quarterback. So I would choose the Browns, but it would definitely be between the Browns and the Saints.
I would like to see him go to Carolina because I think a black quarterback with a white running back would blow a lot of people's minds. And maybe people in this country could kind of come to grips with don't just stereotype everybody.
So before Sam Darnold got to there. It's been like that in Carolina for a while now, Joe.
Oh yeah, Cam.
I get it.
And then Teddy Bridgewater and Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, Sam Darnold. And then PJ Walker. So it's been like that.
Oh.
So
like a good one, though. Like an actual good one.
Yeah.
I like your thinking, though, Joe.
I just think that would be funny.
Bring that unity together.
Yeah. Like America. Check this team out. And it's in the South. How awesome is that?
No, I think I like him going to the Falcons because I know it's not. I don't expect it to be the same Deshaun Watson as it was before, but him going in, and I think what he did with D-Hop, and look at the decline D-Hop's had. He isn't the same D-Hop as he was. He's still great, but he is not the same without Deshaun Watson. I'm gonna say that right now. I will say injuries is probably the biggest reason for that, but I will say D-Hop's great, but you saw what Deshaun Watson can do with that. I think him and Kyle Pitts would be a deadly connection, and I think they could possibly get into like the wild card of the NFC, especially with a lot of talent going towards the AFC. I think they can compete, especially in that division where it's the Bucs right now, and then everyone else. I mean, we thought the Saints were there. The Falcons, they were closer than a lot of people thought they would be last year to getting into the playoffs. So I think bringing him in, give him a little something, maybe build some stuff. But I honestly, I do think the most realistic one is the Browns as far as like winning goes, and also you got Baker Mayfield being from the Texas area. I think him coming into Houston, you know how much the Texans guys were praying that they would get Johnny Manziel when that happened. They were putting up like billboards and that stuff. I think they like that idea of a hometown guy in Houston, especially since they have nothing going on in Houston as is. So might as well have someone from the area sell you tickets. Hey, come see this guy who grew up just down the street play.
Come watch this 3-14 team.
Yeah, because that's how they have to sell tickets now in Houston. But what do we expect from Deshaun Watson come next season? If he does get dealt or whatever, even if he is just staying on the Texans, do you expect a decline at all, or do you expect him to come back and be the same Deshaun Watson, Sean?
I think he's going to be the same. I mean, I'm sure he's been working out through this whole process. I know that he's been staying ready. So, and when he left, I mean, he was arguably a top 5 quarterback in the league, definitely top 10. I mean, he's super dynamic, super athletic. He's got a great arm. One of the best young quarterbacks in the league. So, I mean, maybe he has a couple of rocky games to start, but I expect him to come back and be exactly where he was when he left, as one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. So, and it's going to be a better situation than they had with the Texans that last season, where his O-line was terrible. They traded away DeAndre Hopkins. He really only had Brandon Cooks to throw to. So it's going to be in a better situation regardless of where he ends up. And I think he's going to just come back and start right where he left off. So I think he'll be fine.
So you expect him to come back and be fine?
No, I don't. And I'll tell you, well, listen, I like I've always liked Deshaun Watson. And, you know, we talk about character issues, and this guy's got some. And what he's been through, I know he's been working out, and that's awesome. But mentally, what's been going on in his world, I imagine this has been I'm not trying to feel bad for him because he caused it himself, but this has been a very trying experience emotionally. You know, you want to think that the fans will welcome him back with open arms. Again, what happens if wherever he ends up, they start out 0-3? You know, how quick do the fans turn on you? What if he does go somewhere and he underperforms, and now you're the team that wasted all that collateral to get a guy who a lot of people were like, nah, I don't know. The talent's there, but is it worth it? He's a young guy. I mean, right? You're looking to lock this guy in for your future. You're thinking, 5, 10 years from now, this guy's still doing his thing, and you're winning a lot of football games. It's a big investment to make. And a guy that, again, it's not like he just did one thing wrong, like 22 times.
Yeah, but
and listen, like I said, he could easily countersue these people if the charges that they brought against him were false. Just the thing is he would have to prove that they're false, and so I can only assume. I mean, any lawyer that could do that have evidence to prove that would do it, and they would exonerate him and clear his name. It'd be easy to do. And they haven't done that.
Yeah. So I mean, I do expect Deshaun. I honestly think Deshaun Watson.
He's got the talent to, Jace. I mean, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'm just saying this dude's been through a lot, and I'm suddenly, for the first time, now that reality struck and he's coming back, I think I'm rooting against him, and I hate to say that.
Wow. Okay. I will say, I think if he comes back with the Texans, I expect him to decline. If he does get traded like everyone expects him to, I think he will get back to normal Deshaun Watson. Because, I mean, before all this bull crap, he was having so many problems. I mean, think about DeAndre Hopkins leaving, the whole Bill O'Brien. He was having all these issues and talking about getting out forever. So he needs to leave Houston, and I think that's.
But here's the thing. Listen, they want 3 first-round picks for this guy. It's obvious that no one's offered that. No one's offered that. That's not on the table. So now these guys have to be like, he's not coming back to Texas. It's not happening. That's a non-starter. I mean, he's actively meeting with that. Isn't what normally happens in this situation. When you're doing that, you're not on the team anymore, is basically what that means.
Yeah, you're right.
So now the Texans will have to settle for whatever 2 number ones. It's not going to be 3, because if it was 3, they would have already moved him to that team that jumped and did 3. Maybe nobody's even offering 2. Maybe it's a 1 and a bunch of 2s and a young quarterback or whatever. I don't know. But if the deal was there, they would have struck it already.
Yeah. I mean, no, because you had this stuff pending, and I do get that as well. But also, I can. Who's not to say that Houston, just to like save themselves a little bit, and if they aren't going to get the 3 number 1 overall picks, they just do what they did all season this last season with Deshaun Watson. Just have him dress up, walk out there. Parade.
The longer this guy doesn't play, the more his value plummets.
Yeah.
It's easy to him coming off the season he had to be like, this guy's one of the best in the league, 3 number 1s. But before all this stuff even happened, I didn't see anybody jumping to throw 3 1s at them for him. And then this happened. I definitely don't think there's 3 1s. Or maybe those 3 teams have all offered 3 1s. And so maybe this deal's going to be even better than what they're looking for. And they're going to blow us all away. To me, it's either going to be you're blown away by what they were able to get, or it's going to be vastly undervalued from what they thought it was going to be, where maybe it's literally 1 pick, not 1 this year and a 1 next year and some 2s or something like that. Because again, if the deal was there, you would have been nuts not to jump at it already.
Yeah. Yeah, you are right there. I do agree with that. They should have taken it already if they had that opportunity, and have him waste that time with another team. But so I guess you are right. If Russell Wilson can't get, they didn't get 3 first round picks for him, right? No. So yeah, if that can't happen, then I don't understand why Deshaun Watson worth that. It's not going to be 3 first round picks. It's going to be something.
Listen, when you're in a negotiation, you need leverage.
Yeah.
And what's the leverage? Well, we'll just keep them then. Okay. So to pry me away, it's got to be this. No one's taken that. So I'm telling you right off the bat, it's not 3 1. If it's 3 1s, it's not 3 1s in the same. In the it's going to be. It's not going to be 3 1s in the same round. You understand what I'm saying? It's not going to be like the Eagles. Here's 3 picks for this guy. It's going to be spread out over some years.
Yeah, I think that they do have offers on the table, though, because the Texans said that the only reason they're allowing Deshaun Watson to meet with these teams is because they have an offer that, they would agree upon. So I think all the offers are on the table. I think that they're good offers, and I think that's why the Texans are allowing Deshaun Watson to speak with these teams because excuse me. But because I think that, especially with 4 teams trying to get Deshaun Watson away from the Texans, I think the value is just going to keep going up until they get an offer that they can't refuse, and then they finally send him away. But I think all these teams have good offers on the table.
But the alternative is if you don't, the alternative is they're going to bring him back and not play him again. Where's the leverage if you're the Texans? Because he's not going to play. Like he's never going to play in a Texans uniform again. That's done.
Well, their leverage.
They have to move him.
Yeah, their leverage comes from there's 3 other teams that are trying to prime away so that Deshaun Watson could be these other teams' franchise quarterbacks. I think
right, but I just the value to me, if it wasn't there before this, it's not there now.
I mean, definitely after this situation, I think the value has definitely dropped a little bit, but there's still obviously there's 4 teams willing to give up a lot to get Deshaun Watson right now. They've been actively
I don't
meeting
blame
with
them.
him.
I just
So,
don't. Again, if one of those teams blew them away with 3-1s, the deal would have already happened. You wouldn't even have had to bring him into this. They don't owe him anything.
I don't know. Well, yeah, I don't know about 3-1s, but I think there's definitely some hefty offers out there that they're just trying to build upon. They're trying to get as much as they can.
But they said they wanted 3-1s for this guy. That was their stated goal from the onset. If you want him, it was 3-1s. Nobody got him.
Yeah, but you gotta anchor high. So you gotta try and get those 3-1s, and then if you can't, I mean, you get 2-1s for him, and try and tell him that all these other teams are giving out all these first round picks to try and get him.
He was available from the trading deadline of 2020 all the way to now. Any point, any team that threw those 3-1s they wanted out there would have Deshaun Watson on their team.
Well, there was this whole legal issue that they had to try and get over, which also takes like a year.
Sure, I understand that, but there was
still
a lot of time between that and this thing coming up.
Also, with the legal stuff, the front
not a lot, Sean.
Not
a lot, but again, if somebody saw him being worth 3, they've already would have jumped on it, and that deal would have already happened. So again, after this, I can't imagine now a team is like, you know what? I definitely want to blow 3 picks on this guy and more. Maybe some team really believes in him that much now. Hey, it's all behind him. I mean, maybe some people want to accept that. That story's not going away. I mean, look at Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Those dogs were chasing him the rest of his career.
Yeah.
You like that, Sean. That was funny.
Yeah. But I will say, as you talk about a move not getting made, I think you look at all these situations, like, I mean, bring up like a Ray Rice situation. Everyone talked when stuff like that happened. Oh, they can move him. They're going to move him. They'll figure something out. No, the front office steps in times like this, and they have some sort of a say or anything. It's just not public. So I think that might be another issue why he wasn't getting moved. I do think as far as the 3 picks go, that was just something to put out there to see what they like a feeler. So I don't know. He's going to get moved. It's going to get done. I don't know for how much, or I don't know. I mean, yeah, him sitting back last year. I would expect 3 picks from, like you said, Joe, trade deadline 2022 or 2020 but now, yeah, it's definitely 2 maybe and a couple pieces.
Yeah. I think it's going to be at least 2 first-round picks.
Plus,
probably not 3.
This is a guy that you're going to trade for, and he might miss the first 9 games for 4 games. He might get suspended by the league. And I want to end this with this. Is that a just suspension? I mean, Deshaun Watson, he didn't play all last year. Should he be suspended for more games?
I don't know. Time served.
Yeah.
Although, listen, I think technically, look, he's, contractually obligated to play for that team last year. And I don't know if it was his decision not to play, if it was the team's decision for him not to play, but I do think that matters. Because if the team just basically kept him on the roster and just chose not to dress him and play him, then I think that's sort of his bad. That's just like you were the backup quarterback last year. And I don't think that has anything. You were on the active roster. So I think you not playing that's like anybody that didn't play all the snaps on offense or defense. It's like tough tamales. The punter came on the field 3 times. Yeah. So no, I would think a suspension for character would definitely be in order.
All right. Sean, what do you think about that?
I wouldn't be surprised if he's suspended, honestly. I mean, Roger Goodell is known to do this even after guys have been, not criminally charged with it. I think that he's gone out and given them suspensions. So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it will be a super long suspension. Probably like a 4-game suspension, something like that. But
like when
I
word
definitely
of the
wouldn't be surprised.
$150 million settlement or whatever it is comes out, is that when they'll suspend him?
Yeah,
right.
probably.
When the NFL like, ooh, that got out. $90 million.
Once it leaks out, Roger Goodell knows that it's going to be a bad look for the NFL, so he'll probably go out and do a little suspension, as Roger Goodell does.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I think he probably will have a short game suspension. I don't think it will be like half the season, though.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Only time will tell. And I mean, all eyes are on Deshaun Watson now, right? I mean, the whole Aaron Rodgers saga that ended with him re-signing. Russell Wilson got dealt. Tom Brady ended his retirement. So now all eyes are on Deshaun Watson to be that quarterback on the move. So we'll see what happens. It's interesting because I'm excited to see what Deshaun Watson looks like week 1. That's what I'm really excited and see what team he's on because I mean he's a great player.
Well, also for the idiots, that's also going to impact your little fantasy mock draft to see where this guy goes. That's going to change the whole landscape again, and it's going to affect all those mock drafts.
Yeah, not that many though. How many people?
Yeah, dude, it's not necessarily the quarterback. It's going to be right. We're talking about if he goes to Cleveland, they have to go get a wide receiver now. So that does change the dynamic of things all across the NFL. That could lead to other moves and other trades. So, yeah, dude, a quarterback moving teams has like a cataclysmic effect on the NFL. And normally when things happen, it's dominoes in the NFL. Teams are going to react and counteract to everything that happens. And everybody's, again, you'll see all the stupid mock drafts a week from now are all going to be different. They're already different than they were last week.
I mean, yeah.
Everybody had the tackles at the top, and now they're back where they're supposed to be, and the DNs are up at the top. Come on. You break.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see.
I've seen this Kalifakis kid in like the top 10 now, all of a sudden.
Oh, the dude from Purdue, yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's still a lot going on, people, with the mock drafts. Give it a rest.
Yeah, pro days are still going on.
Spend more time on your fantasy teams. That's where the attention really needs to happen. A mock draft that no one's going to like, no one's going to agree with. That's going to change in a week depending on the moves that are all coming up. Got better things to do.
I'm going to send you a mock draft every day up until the draft, Joe. Just for you.
I'll make a deal with you. I'll shave my head if any of your picks are right.
Any
pick. If you get any of them right, I'll shave my head.
Oh, that's easy.
Bet you'll go 0 for 32.
I'll get 1 or 2.
I'm only kidding. I'm not really going to do that.
No, of course not.
I would come up with a reasonable bet, though. How many do you think you could get?
I could probably get like 5. I think
5.
Yeah.
I don't know. 10 maybe. I have faith in myself.
You could do 10?
No. Like a month out of the draft, maybe, once stuff starts getting figured out.
I'll make a deal with you guys. If you guys collectively can come up with 20 of the 32 draft picks nailed, you got to do it like soon. You can't do it like when Mel Kiper's like, all right, here's what it is, and that's the real order. You got to do this now. Not today now, but like before the next show. You guys show me who you got. You get more than 20 of the 32 right. Go on.
Shit. All right. Let's go, Sean.
Deal.
Put your Mel Kiper and Todd McShay caps on and let's have at it.
Okay.
Let's go.
Sure, I guess. We got this, Sean. Easy clap. But, all right. That's going to do it for John about the GMen today. Big shout out to Joe and Sean for joining me today. And big shout out to Clovercrest Media. Make sure you check out clovercrestmedia.com for more podcasts like posting up podcasts where if you stay tuned to Clovercrest Media on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch, we'll be going live with that very, very shortly right after this. So stay tuned there. Posting up.
I don't even know what that means. Nobody kicked me to the curb. What is that? What are you even talking about?
That's definitely Zay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Giving Joe crap for not making it last week when Zay's not even here.
I wish Zay was here tonight. I really do.
Yeah, especially since we're talking about Deshaun Watson.
Bummer.
But, yeah, and also...
And by the way, that's the last we're ever going to talk of the Deshaun Watson situation.
Zay's gonna have like a 15-minute like soliloquy next show. But all right. And also big shout out to JPEX Financial and Chris Sawyer at Andy Mac Mortgage for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure you go check them out. And that's gonna do it for today's show. Make sure you tune in next week for more John about the GMen, where we'll talk about more NFL free agency stuff, a little bit more draft preview, and of course, the New York Football Giants. So stay tuned. Make sure we'll see you next week for more John about the GMen. Peace out, everyone.
Sanderson looking in, zone for a pass. He's looking for King, intercepted. He's going to go down the right side. Lawrence down to the 20, 30, down to the 40. He might go all the way.
3rd down and 7. Good jump off the line by Strahan, who gets the sack. Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet. Airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree.
4-man rush. Eli throwing into traffic on the sideline. They're going to rule the catch by Manning.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the GMen. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.